Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Good afternoon, Steve. Welcome back to the Friday at 4 podcast series. How are you, buddy?
Doing well, Chuck, and yourself?
Hanging in there. What
Yeah.
a what a crazy week. All this rain and whew.
Yeah, here in New York, it was beautiful, then it was raining, then it was nice, then it was raining, and make up your mind.
Yeah, I think
And
you got what we got after you. We got it and it comes flying to you, right?
so of course, timing is everything. We know
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So my car has not been washed in months because,
Nice.
again, as for whoever doesn't know, I hurt my shoulder and whatever else, so I cannot wash the car. And of course,
Yeah,
I'm too proud to bring it into a car wash, so I have to wash it myself.
I do it
Different
yourself,
discussion.
right?
Okay. But I finally last weekend checked the forecast. Beautiful for a week. I get out, right arm only. I wash the car because I can't use my left. Came out nice. Sure enough, what does it do on Tuesday?
Rain,
And
rain.
Wednesday, rains, go through the puddles. Should not have washed the car.
No, I got a free car wash all week. I'm loving it.
Yeah. The problem though is if the car is dirty, the rain pounds the dirt into the car. That was the problem.
Yeah, yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, oh well. Anyway,
Anyway,
anyway.
anyway. So here we are back for episode 37.
Wow.
And this is part two of 36, as we had talked about last week. We wanted to follow back up with everyone, our discussion, because last week we pretty much talked about on the personal level of those multiple streams of income. And now we want to get into the professional, the business side of the multiple streams of
Yeah.
income. And then you and I had discussed that. So take it away.
Thanks. So the
Yeah.
personal side, as a recap, you know, you need it for income, you need it for the just in case, you need it to pay off bills, whatever your reasons are. Multiple streams of income are a good thing because the economy can change, who knows? But if you start now to look at a business, there's many businesses who are single focused. They'll sell burgers, fries, and a drink. That's it. They'll make a sandwich. That's it. And it may be good. And no saying that the service, the product, whatever is not bad, because I'm sure it is. But what happens if people's tastes change? If the supplier of your lettuce for your sandwich decides to say, not delivering to you anymore, or I'm tripling the price, and you can't raise your price to the customer, you're in trouble. So you're in the same boat of multiple streams of income. Now, years ago, this was probably 2011, 2012. I looked at opening up a franchise in the food industry, and I'm purposely not going to mention the company's name because, as I say all the time, and you say all the time, we're not paid, we're not sponsoring anybody, we're not plugging anybody, so I'm going to call it a sandwich shop. And I got to know them very well. And back then, they had an amazing operation. Their food is off the charts, fresh, everything is really good. And they were the pick your sandwich, um, pick your chip, pick your drink. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and you're out the door. And it
Right.
was delicious. But over the last couple of years, I have watched that chain evolve for the better. At least in my opinion, it's for the better. They started adding in cookies. Now, when you start adding in cookies, I'm all in because I'm a cookie fanatic. Okay, so right away I'm in. Okay, but taking me out of the picture. Um,
So cookies.
I love chocolate chip cookies. They're like my downfall. But they added in cookies. which was great. Then I think they added in soup. Then I think they added in delivery. Look, within a certain radius, they added in
Sure.
delivery. So
Right.
they went from, this to this. More customers, more opportunity for revenue, more opportunity for loyalty. Because if
Yeah.
you're a business, the more things you can provide to a customer, I, I, I'm not a marketing person, but I think the term is called stickiness. And again, I could be wrong, but my version of that, if that's not the right word, is a company or not a company, a customer will stick with you because they find value in multiple things.
Yeah.
So the example I can provide for that is let's talk a bank. And again, not one in particular, generic. You can make a deposit in the bank or through the ATM. You have a checking account. You have a savings account. In some cases, you can get a loan. You can get a mortgage, a home equity line of credit. Um, who knows? Bank checks, cashier's checks, whatever, and it goes, down the line. Same thing. If you could only get a few things, you would find another institution that has the other things that you want that the first one can't give you. But
Yeah.
now you find yourself going one place to the next place to the next place to get all your stuff done.
Yeah.
Inconvenient. People are in the mood, in the need of one place, one thing.
Yeah.
That's why supermarkets, and again, not naming any and I'm not naming quality, but when you go into the average supermarket, you can find 10 breads on the shelf. You can find, five kinds of milk. You can find 27 kinds of meat, vegetables. It's all in the same place because they want to make it convenient that you can get all your shopping done in one place.
Yeah. And all the little goodies are at all the front of the aisle. That way, when you're out there getting ready to check out, like, oh, I can get this, I can get that. No, I might need this.
There's also, and again, I'm not a marketing person, but from the little bit that I've read, when you walk into a supermarket, eye level, now granted, people are different heights, I get it, but within a certain, let's say one or two shelves, are all the most popular, highest priced items
And they
because
pay
people,
for that as well. They pay high
oh
dollar
yeah,
for that.
oh yeah, 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 they pay for shelf space,
Yes,
but
they do.
people aren't going to reach up. They're not going to bend down. They want
Yep.
straight in, put the hand in, grab, and pull it back out, put it in the cart. Next
Got it.
aisle, next aisle, next aisle.
Yep.
And to your point, they get up to the checkout counters and there's all your candy and your soda and water in the machines.
Gift
And
cards. Yeah.
there's a psychology around get people in the store, offer them more things, easy for them to get, and they will buy more.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, again, way back when, there was, and I'm in New York, so I don't know if this existed outside New York, but there was a store called TSS, which was Times Square Stores, and they were multiple locations, and they offered all kinds of stuff. But one of the things they were famous for was they had a huge record department. Now, back then it was all vinyl records, huge, huge selection, every store. They would put that record collection upstairs in the back of the store, and they would purposely discount the records. They wanted you to come in the store on the first floor, walk through the store, up the escalator, and into the back of the store. And even though you bought a record, sometimes at a loss to the store, how many other things are you buying when you're in the store?
As
And
you're going
that's
past all that
you're
stuff.
going past everything. And they're
Yeah.
all the same way. So back to the theme of multiple streams of income. They're willing to take a loss on a record or two or three, but they're going to make it back on you need a shirt, you need pants, you need sneakers, you need glasses, you need whatever. That's what they're counting on, the multiple products you buy, multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. And there's all kinds of marketing studies and stuff around that about how to get the consumer to buy more.
Yeah. I got a cool story to tie on to that. So, a local place here that is, it started as one grocery store, kind of evolved into several. And now they've been bought out, years later. But the story, legend has it, the story has it that years ago, when people I knew were kids, and the guy owned this one single location, would keep a small broom at the front of the checkout. And everybody had checked out. He would purposely sell them this broom. He would ring it up and they wouldn't know it. And if people who called it, oh, sorry about that, he would take it off. But imagine the thousands of people a day that bought that broom that
Wow.
didn't know about it. And
Wow.
that's how he made money. Pretty interesting story, isn't
Interesting. A little underhanded,
it?
but ingenious.
Yeah, right.
Because
It
you're
was
right.
genius. Yeah. But for the people who caught it, shame on you, mister. Take it
Hmm.
off.
Right.
People who didn't catch it, shame on you. You bought a broom and don't even have it.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware.
Buyer
Yeah.
beware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing though. Yeah. But you go into like a Sam's store or a Costco or a BJ's, and it's the same thing. They have the people who are at the ends of the aisles where they give you the samples, a
Mhm.
little drink, a little snack, a little something like, oh, I want this. Multiple streams. They're
Yeah.
willing to pay somebody minimum wage, um, plus a couple of samples, and to
Right.
get people to like it because they give it away free.
Yeah.
Oh, I like I know I've been guilty of that. Oh, you know what? This potato chip tastes good. This piece of a hamburger tastes good. This roll tastes good. This whatever. Go buy a box.
Yeah. Right
Multiple
on through the aisle
streams.
you go. There you go. Pick it up.
They know exactly what they're doing. It
Yeah.
but any business has to be in the same mindset, regardless of what you offer. So if you offer you're a CPA, do you, because not all, do you just do the books? Do you also offer tax services? Do you offer bookkeeping services? What else in that whole realm can you offer, again, to keep a person with you for multiple things? And once they get comfortable, they're not going anywhere. And that's what you
That's
want.
true. That's true. If you're a likable person, they like you, they trust you,
Right,
you're
right,
going to make out.
right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, let's take yourself. You have Q.A.C team. How many different services can you offer somebody?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, let me rephrase the question, Your Honor.
Yeah.
What are the different services you offer? I feel like I'm a judge here. Don't want to be a
You're like, "Hey,
judge. Don't want to be a judge. Okay.
let me rephrase that
Let me
question.
rephrase that question,
Yeah.
Your Honor. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's coaching, developing, mentoring, undercover reviews. There are host-read ads. So right there's 6 or 7 different things that I can offer for any business. Then they got the show to where I can come out and do the complete recording of your entire experience. And then I have a thing for customer experience to teach kids how to understand customer service. So there's a lot.
And
Yeah,
the point of you offering all those services to a business helps the business in one or multiple ways to be
yeah,
better to their customers.
right. Absolutely.
Right. So
Yeah,
so to give you as or to use you as the example, you are offering all these things. It's like the Times Square stores. They're offering, the shirts, the hats, the gloves, the jackets.
Yeah.
You're offering the same thing to a business. Help
Yeah.
them be better. So
Yeah.
your service is so valuable.
And what's amazing about what I do, everything ties together in the customer experience. So it's not like, hey, I do podcasting, but also sell shoes. You know, everything I do ties together, just like with you, right? Let's run down the services that you offer and let's listen and let the audience understand that what you offer, the same thing, it all ties together into financials, right?
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
People are never taught options that are out there.
yeah,
You hear things on TV, on radio, on social media. You can tell I'm old-fashioned radio, right? But you hear things, and based on what you hear, that's all you know. That's your frame of reference. So you
yeah,
hear put money in a bank. You hear pay minimum on a credit card. That's what you hear. So that's what you do.
you do.
But the idea is what else is out there? There are other places to put money. There are other ways to pay off your credit card more than minimum so you're not in debt. There are ways to save for an emergency. There are ways to leave a legacy that you're never told about.
Yeah,
So the same thing with you. You go into a business and expand their offerings to a client. I'm going into a family and telling them how to do better for their nucleus, the potentially the mother, the father, the kids, the grandkids, whatever's in there. It's the
right.
same concept. Helping by offering more services and educating people how they can be better. And we're
And I
both in
think,
different industries, but we're doing the same thing.
yeah, and I think what business owners don't understand is how much it really costs to hire and train somebody. You're spending more if you let that employee leave you in hiring, training someone else, than you are giving a raise to that person, keeping them on your staff. And I say this 1,000 times, you know, you
Mhm.
got to work with your employees. If they're good, let's work with them. You
Correct,
know?
correct.
Yeah,
Because a good employee, they know your system. They have the relationships internally inside your company and externally outside the company. They know the clients, they know the vendors, people call, they can ask for them.
yeah,
All that stuff. You let that employee, and now again, assuming the employee is good and you want to keep them. Okay, we got to make that distinction. But if you want
yeah,
to keep that
absolutely.
employee, yes, it takes more to recruit, train, mentor, HR cost.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it puts a big financial burden on a small business owner who doesn't have a lot of profit margin to spend to do this, you
Mhm.
know? So
It's a very expensive process.
it
So it's the
is.
same thing. Use what you have, expand the offerings. Maybe you can give that employee a different shift that they want. Um, Maybe you can, I don't know, give them a little something. I mean, my daughter works in a restaurant, and she's an assistant general manager, and she works really hard, puts in a lot of hours. They could say to her, "Here's your lunch break or your dinner break. You got X number of minutes. Go." And by the time the clock starts ticking, till you get out of the restaurant, down the street, get what you want, and come back, you're late.
Yeah,
So they give her an allowance up to a certain dollar amount she can eat in the store on the allowance. So she eats
smart.
well because what she can eat and whatever, and the amount she's allowed. She eats well. She stays on site. So an emergency comes up, she's still there. But you're giving something back to the employee, making them feel valuable, um, appreciated, and all those good things. And your
Yeah.
turnover should be less.
And what's the most important thing about that is that employee understands what the food tastes like. So if a customer comes and says, well, what does this taste like? Bam. Oh, well, I eat that 2 times a week. It'll taste like this. It's great. And you can actually upsell your food
Correct.
because, well, your employees know what they're eating.
Yep.
How many times have you went to a restaurant and you say, well, what's going on the menu? And they look at you like, I don't know, don't eat here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just on a call right before this, and I'm talking to the guy. I've known him for a long time. And I talked to the super guy, and I've talked to him, and he's telling me that he recently went in to a Subaru dealership for whatever. He went into all right, I shouldn't have said the name, but okay. But he went into a Subaru dealership and looking to buy, and they're showing him the Subarus. And the salesman also said, wait a second, I have something in my car I need to get. They watched him go to the parking lot, and he got into a GMC. How can you sell a Subaru when you're driving a GMC? So, to your point, you're in a restaurant, you're eating their food. You can say, buy this, it's better. Try this, it's better. That one, nah, try this. And it works, but you have to eat, sleep, drink whatever you're offering to other people. That's the best potential way to sell something and have somebody buy it if you're using
Yeah.
it yourself.
And then, going back to the theme of this whole part two of this podcast here is when you have multiple streams of income, make sure you know multiple products and services that you offer. That way, when you sell them, you know what you're talking about. It doesn't sound stupid when you're trying to sell something to somebody,
Right.
like, well, we also offer shoes, but never wore a pair.
Well, part of that is yes, you need to know what you're selling, but you also have to understand not everything you sell is for everyone.
Absolutely.
So if somebody
Yeah.
comes in and loves blue, you're wearing blue, they love blue,
Love my blue.
and I'm wearing green. I sell both, but you tell me you want blue. Okay, I'll sell you the blue. If I try selling you the green, they're going to look at me and they're going to say, have a nice day, and they walk out the door.
Right
But
to
if
your
you have
competitor.
both and you know both qualities and not of each, now you can tailor to what the client wants.
Yeah.
And that leads to the multiple streams of income because you're giving them what they want, not what you want to sell.
Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole art around that. And that's why, I think we're both of the same mind of education first. This
Yeah.
is what you're doing. These are the options available. You offer 6, 7, 8 different products, different services, not products, but services. You're going to go to a customer or to a business and say, this is what I offer. Where are you today? What would help you?
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And I think, you to your point to that, right? My main question that you'll see on my homepage now when you go to my website, I even did a video. The first thing I say, and it's a question in my podcast, is where do you see yourself in the next year or two with your business? And that really hits home for people. I never thought about that. Why not? Where do you see yourself in a year or two? Where do you see your business? And let's set up the roadmap to get you to
Mhm.
where you want to be. And if we have those multiple streams of income, especially like you do, with all these different products and services that you offer, you know, that's going to get them to where they need to be in a safe path and faster than if they were going to different people trying to get different things from all these different companies.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's the example I used last week. You want to buy a phone. I'm not going to say which one. You want to buy a phone, and it costs $1,000. You don't have any money. It costs $1,000.
Yeah.
You want it 10 months from now. So $1,000 divided by 10 months is $100 a month. Now you need $100 a month. Now take the 100 a month and divide it by 30 days. Now you need $3 and some odd cents every day for the next 10 months to buy your phone.
Yeah.
Same thing with you, with a business.
Yep.
Where do you want to be a year from now? and let's work backwards to where you are today, set the wheels in motion, and the
Yeah.
services you offer will help them get to that point.
Yeah. I think a good point you made there was looking backwards, right? So you begin with the end in mind because that's what the question's
Mhm.
about, right? The question's
Right,
about
right.
where do you see yourself in the next year or two?
Hmm.
Well, I see myself making another $100,000 in 2 years. All right, well, let's break it down, right? 365 days a year, but you're only open, 4 days of the week. So now we got to take that out. So now we're like, all right, so you need, an extra $1,000 a week. All right, so it's a couple $100 a day. Okay, so now we look at how we get couple $100 a day in your
Hmm.
business. You need four customers, you
Hmm.
know, and then you break it out. Okay, well, then how do I get four customers in here? Well, these hours, you get people, you get a sale, or whatever, whatever the case may
Hmm.
be. But you get the point is, we break it down to where what you're looking for. We know
Hmm.
how to get you there. That's what we
Correct,
do,
correct.
you know. Yeah.
There's a saying, and I hope I don't mess it up. You can't improve what you don't track,
Yeah,
what you
that is
don't
true.
measure.
Yeah.
So, exactly what you said. I won $100,000 in 2 years. Well, what are you doing? How do you track that you're making that progress? How
Yep.
many customers do you need? Well, I need four customers extra a day. Well, how many do you have today? So we have a baseline and then add four and add
Yep.
four and add four and add four and add four and keep going and track not only the customers, but the revenue they're spending. Your
Yeah.
profit margin comes back to the numbers. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think that's one of the most valuable things that I came up with since I started, redoing my business. I never really looked at my podcast like that until I looked at my questions. And I said, that's such a valuable question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost the last question I ask in the podcast interview, just simply because you want to know where they're headed. You talk to the business owner, you see their process, you see their business, you see what they're doing. But now you want to know, well, where are you headed? What's your vision for the next year or two? And when you hit that question, man, it really, you can see their face. They're like, wow, that's a great question.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So to
Because
anybody watching, if you listen to any of my podcasts, that question comes up. Just watch their reaction. Listen to what those business owners say. Even Steve, you said it. And listen to Steve's podcast. Now, when Steve came on, it was just voice only at the time, but you'll hear it. You'll hear what every business owner says. Where do you see yourself next year or two? You know?
if you don't have a target in mind, you're flying blind. You're
Yeah,
flying into a snowstorm.
yeah,
What are you
it's true.
trying to achieve?
Yep.
There's, and again, there's a bunch of people who I know who are very, very good in the sales world, very good people. And it's like, if you don't know where you're going and what you're doing, do you really have a business or a
Yeah.
hobby?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
we
the
talked about
same.
that a couple episodes ago too. We talked about a business versus a hobby. It's like what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah,
So
what are you doing? What are you doing?
yeah. Yep.
Again, it's all about the income. Unfortunately, now you could, and hopefully there are a lot of people that do what they do because they want to spread goodwill. They want to help people, and that's awesome. But in order to do that and spread the goodwill and help people, that costs money. Doesn't mean you have to take in 1 million for you. Take in 1 million, take a piece for you, and use the rest out for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because you still have to live. You need food, shelter, clothing, and all the other things that you do.
Yeah.
But everything takes money. See,
Yep.
people, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Everybody say I do this all the time. People think that money is the root of all evil. It's not.
No.
It's how you use the money that makes or breaks a person.
Yeah. Yeah. My phrase is money isn't the root of all evil. People are the root of all evil because people are the
Yeah,
ones using the money, not the money
correct.
using the money.
It's
Yeah.
yes, it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
the money is there. The money has to be there to do certain things. And I get that.
Right.
That's the way the world is built.
Right.
But it's who has that money? How are they using it? What are they using it for? Are they using it for good to help? Are they using it for bad to do the wrong things? Do you have your $100 million yacht, or are you helping a million people who are homeless and don't have insurance and don't have food? And what are you doing with the money?
Yeah, so
That's,
true.
we're getting a little off topic here, and I apologize, but
It's
it
okay.
comes down to multiple streams of income. So you have income. What are you doing with it? Like the way I brought that back, huh? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got multiple yachts and multiple cars. There's my multiple streams of income.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Great topic. I'm glad we got
right.
to clear,
Yeah,
to get back and clarify part two to this with the business side, because I think it really needed to be said, that
yeah, yeah.
business owners need to really think about what else they can do to survive in this tough economy today that helps, get their company out there and help raise their bottom line with bringing in more revenue. So,
So here's a little advice that I can offer just before we wind down. Um, you can have X number of products or services you're offering, and that's good. Before you jump full speed into something else, test market it. Do a focus group. Do people want that additional service? If the focus group says yes, they do, then test market it in one store, one city, one something before you go full blown. Because if you go full out and it doesn't work, it's time, it's money, it's not a good situation. Start slow. It's like trying to learn how to swim. You're going to start in the shallow end, not the deep end. Same thing. Start small, proof of concept, and then go from there.
a quick little plug. If you learn how to swim, I did a podcast on Savannah Swim Club in Georgia.
Oh, all right.
Listen to the podcast.
Talk to
That was
Chuck.
a while
Talk to
back.
Chuck. Get that podcast. Okay.
Yeah, man. I love helping, man. You know that, Steve.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
do. Love helping. And if there's
That's
anything
a
I
good
can
thing.
do for anybody out there, reach out, let's
Mhm.
talk, 410-935-6132. Steve, 516-727-2294.
Yeah.
QACteam.com or
Or
Steve Kent FS, right?
right.
Okay.
SteveKentFS.com. FS is
FS.com.
financial services. That's what that
Yeah, I
is.
mean, yeah, reach out to us. That's what we love to help.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
So
It's to help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I like it
Good
that
stuff.
you offer the free consultation like I do. I like to
Right.
give free that way people can get
Yeah.
a taste
Yeah.
of what we do and they can test drive our products and
Hmm.
services to see
Yep.
exactly what we do.
Right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah.
thanks again, man, for coming on.
No.
I love it.
Yeah. Good
We're rolling
stuff.
along in these episodes here Friday at
Yeah.
4 because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
4 o'clock somewhere. It's a rainy 4 o'clock somewhere this
It
time.
was raining here today. So
Yeah, it's been a pretty rainy week, but
yeah.
we made it. We got through.
Yep.
And hopefully the weekend will be clear for us and
Mm.
we'll have a great weekend and we'll catch up soon. Thanks again for coming back on.
No,
And
absolutely. You too.
yeah, enjoy the weekend. Have a great rest of the day and we'll chat soon, Steve.
You got it. Thanks, Chuck. Take
See
care.
you, buddy.
Take
Take
care,
care,
everyone.
everybody. See you,
Bye-bye.
buddy. Bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.